Good day, everybody. We are coming into day 4 of veg, and before we take a look at anything, I'm just going to give my little disclosure. We don't support or condone any type of illegal drug use. We don't sell anything. We don't do any type of crap like that. We are just here as a home grower to show you my little ecosystem here. So I hope you enjoy. That's Pooter right there. This is a 200-gallon, I'd say turtle fish pond, so to speak, that we made out of concrete, masonry mix, and then pond shield to shield the water and everything from, it's basically just a two-part epoxy that seals the concrete. Makes it fish safe. And look at this guy here. Is this Cooter? This is Cooter. Usually Cooter doesn't. No, that's Scooter. Sorry, that's Scooter. Yeah, she does come on up. She's the one that likes to climb a lot. She'll be actually. I know the lights are a pain in the ass in the way, but she'll sit on the edge of this rock right here. And when I come in and shut the door, a lot of times she'll just dive right in. She can come right on up, no problem. I've seen Cooter up there as well, so I mean it's easy for them to climb. She loves to bask in that light. So we have a heat lamp here and a UVA UVB light right here. You can see. So the heat lamp's here, UVA B's here. So we combine the two. This heat lamp is actually adjustable. You can see we can get lower and brighter. We don't turn it all the way up. I like to keep it. You can see the reflection in the other one here. I like to usually right about there. It gives us a lot of heat. This all, the amount of heat I'm giving to them all is determined by how far away the light is from the rock there. We don't want it too hot. If it's too hot, they'll burn. But we want it just right. So the distance, and I can really tell by my hand. If it's not burning my hand from this distance, then I'm good. It'll dry her shell out, dry their shells out. The UVA and B light will give them the necessary natural light that they need to help them digest their food, helps their skin, cleans their shell, keeps bacteria from growing on their shell and on their skin. The lactic acid bacteria that we put into the water as well helps a lot with that as well. And here are the little babies. We had some damage from before, but the new growth is looking pretty good. That's new growth here. This is all growth from when we had it in the cold weather. It was 71 degrees in our room that we had these in, and I deliberately stressed these. We planted 30 seeds, and these are all the ones that I guess accidentally bred together. It's Daddy Fat Sacks by Nerds Genetics crossed with Blueberry Skank from Yellow Hammer Genetics. It was a happy accident that I did indoors in a 4x4 tent about 3 or 4 years ago when I first started growing cannabis in a tent in my house. And I removed the male, but I didn't take into effect that the HVAC system in my house was pumping pollen all throughout the house. And it got into the tent, obviously, and we got seeds. So I took those seeds and planted them, and we got some really nice looking stuff. The flavor wasn't all there, but the bud structure, the height, the growth, everything was just amazing. And we wanted to hunt. The second time I ran through it, I found one that had a really good blueberry funk to it. And I'm hunting for that again. I did not save it because I didn't know what I was doing at the time. But here we are. This will be the third time we've run them. We've been kind of waiting. This is the fourth run we've done in this bed. So this is actually run number 4 for this year, which I'm pretty excited about. Even though we went an extra 2 weeks with that land race, we would be probably 3 weeks ahead. But we had a land race in here that we were trying to finish, and which, we did. Here's what we did yesterday. We cleaned out all that grass. So all this right through here, if you remember, all those roots were just clogged up right through there. And you can see the lucky bamboo here was growing. Actually had a new shoot growing, but we couldn't even see it because that grass had just completely covered it up. You see that new shoot on the bamboo there? And that new shoot has pushed the bamboo on an angle. So I don't know if you can notice it or not. It's not straight up and down anymore. It's actually at an angle. But what was happening was it was clogging up right here, backflowing all this water. This was raised up. I could tell that something was wrong because the water was high up on that point right there. You can see how wet it is up there. It was all the way up there. And I was like, water should not be all the way up there. And under further review, we came down here and looked, and we could not see through there at all. It was backed up all through here. The water was raised up. You can see how high the edges of the creek are. And we want those high edges. Let me see, you can see. Look how far down the water's here. It comes all the way up and then curves over. So all of this stays wet because this wicks water from way down here. It's just wicking water up and over. You can see the mounds of this worm castings that used to be sand and silt and clay right here, and that's what the worms do. They'll just turn it right into worm castings. We can put those worm castings in the soil. And voila. Put a little cover over it. So I have really noticed that anytime I put some new, you can see we chop and dropped all this dog fennel. That's what this is. We just kind of gave that a haircut. Gave the dog fennel over there a haircut. And what I've noticed is that if you cover your soil, cover, the worms come up. If we don't cover it, then it dries out. I'll show you a good example. This is what it would look like if we would dry it out on top and it didn't have any cover. It would just dry out and not look very good. The biology would cyst up, and what would happen is that this soil would go hydrophobic. And what I mean by that is when you pour water on it, the water will just bead up, hit the side of the pot, run down the side of the pot, down into the soil, but this up here will stay dry. And you'll be able to stick your finger down there a little bit and it'll be bone. You'll pour water, then you stick your finger down there and it'll be bone dry. I know if we've gardened any at all in a pot, you'll know what I'm talking about. That comes from lack of water, okay, and the biology cysts up, turns hydrophobic, and it will not accept water. What you'll have to do, look at the mycelium on this. This is what it looks like when it dries out. When you hit this back with water, See, it's just a piece of wood, but it's completely broken down, or almost broken down anyway. It's being broken down as we speak. So if we cover this, that moisture is retained, and what we end up with is right on the edge of this creek. You don't have to go far for that worm to be there. You know, you can see the biology. This is what it'll be if it stays wet. Now I would say moist, but moist is not sufficient. It needs to stay wet, but on that not saturated wet, the moisture needs to go somewhere, but it needs to be consistent. And if it's consistent, these guys never stop. Like, you don't have to go far to find life in a thriving system. They're constantly working, and they have plenty of food to work. This is why we leave. This is the soil food web at work. This is what's going to break down this stalk here, or this old root. Like, it's hard right now. Like, there's no way for me to pull it out of there, but I guarantee you in 2 weeks, we'll come over here and we'll push this, and the whole thing will just come right out. It'll be completely broken down because the critters have destroyed and eaten everything down there. And this is what we mean by we need to just keep feeding. So feed the biology, and we feed the biology with the old roots, with the old chop and drop. So we chop and drop, but that's food. This is going to dry up to the point where it becomes almost dust. If there's moisture to that, the worm can then turn that dust, that the biology or the bacteria that's on this grass. If you watched my previous run, we could actually see these leaves. Like, we had so much biology on the grass that as long as the leaves of the cannabis won't touch in the grass, it was fine. But as soon as the leaf touched the grass, we could come back the next day, and where that grass is touching that leaf, you'll see damage on the cannabis because of the biology that we can't see on the grass tip is eating our cannabis. But it won't eat it. You know, you would think that biology would just jump over here and start munching, but it doesn't. It'll munch the grass. It stays on the grass. Only if it touches it will it start to eat the cannabis plant. And that was really cool to see that, you know, as long as you can separate just by a little bit, it doesn't have to be much. I mean, doesn't just touch it. But it was weird because I could have a bad, you know, like spider mites right here on this plant, like say spider mites on this bush, and then nothing on the cannabis. I could have powdery mildew on this bush. You can see some right here. Actually, look at that. That's powdery mildew. That's what that is. That's powdery mildew on that stem right there. See that white stuff? That's powdery mildew. But I can guarantee you that it won't transfer over to my cannabis plant because there's the biology on the plant is keeping it from eating. Now, this, like certain plants, certain flowers are susceptible to powdery mildew. Like this plant over here, this bush. I will not remove this bush because of that. That's kind of my indicator bush. So if I start to see that powdery mildew, look, there's some right there. That's powdery mildew. I can just bring in some lab or some Lost Coast. Lost Coast plant therapy works really well. I had some right here. I was using this indoors. And this stuff is awesome. This Lost Coast plant therapy here, we can spray it just about on anything. I'm not going to spray it in my water, of course. I'm going to just keep it, you know, That's why I have it in this little spray bottle, so we don't get too much overspray. It's just soap, alcohol, some peppermint. Uh, you read the back of the bottle. I mean, you can drink this shit. So it's not bad for you. I watched Rick take a shot of it on Let's Be Buzz a couple weeks ago, and I actually came out here and smelled it and took a little sip myself, and it tastes like peppermint. And a little alcohol, you know, the rubbing alcohol and peppermint. I don't recommend drinking it, but it ain't gonna kill you. Oh, I forgot. And it is safe for pets. It's safe for everything. I mean, it's really good stuff. Actually, I'm not just saying that because I know Dirk and he's on the show. I mean, you wouldn't be seeing me do this right now. I promise you. This is just gonna knock back some of those pesky pests that we don't want on our cannabis. So we're just spraying our cannabis, and then we'll spray a little on this bush here to knock back a few things like that powdery mildew. But that powdery mildew will go away now that the heat is up and moving, and we got the humidity around 60%. But that powdery mildew's always been there, and it's probably always going to be there. But I did not see any on the plants. And I seriously doubt I'll see any on these. These plants have went through hell. These are the strong. I said I planted 30 seeds. These are 12 of the best. And they went through hell and came out pretty good. Better than all the rest. I don't know if they're male or female or not. And that's on purpose because we may find something that we want to cross, or not cross but breed. Might want to get some more seeds because I only have a few. Well, I have probably a couple hundred of the of these left. I call them yellow skunk, but that's just what it is right now. It may change just because it's something I did by accident. See, our elephant ear is spitting out some new leaves. Told you that'll be back. By the time the cannabis is up and moving above the grass line, the elephant ears will be back in full swing. So each run, it's cool because each run I can cut these elephant, like this one here. I've cut this one multiple times. Every run I've cut this, and we just cut it again. I guarantee you it'll spit out some new leaves up here. By the time these are up here, this will be spitting out new leaves. These have gotten pretty cool. I'm not even sure what this is, but they're growing. And we've got some stuff down here in the creek. Black soldier fly chilling. And you can see how deep it is. Look at that. That's the water's here. It comes all the way up. That water wicks all the way up. Look how deep it is. And that's how we've been just slowly. It wasn't that tall when we began, but it's slowly building that height by us pulling that algae and stuff up on the edge. And that's really helping us get that distance we need, because at first it was wicking way too much water, and that's what we need to dial in and figure out. You can remember us spreading out all that new sand and silt through here. It's all turned now. It's just about all worm castings now. Anything you lay down basically will have a worm or something up underneath of it. Look at this thing. This thing's gone crazy. Remember, this was just over here the other day. Now it's all the way over here. All this down in here was clogged up. Look at that. I mean, everything I move, just something new. So cool. See the water dripping off this top log here. And the water temperature is about, I'd say it's 74-ish, 73-ish. Probably around in there somewhere. We got a heater. The heater is over there in that corner where the cooler is. But it's 80 degrees in here right now. 60% humidity. Well, actually, let's see here. Take that back. It's 78 degrees in here. We got it set at 80, but it's morning time. It got down to like 34 last night outside. But our temperature stays around 75 down at the lowest. During the day, it'll get up to about 81, 82 with the mini split set at 80. That keeps us in that VPD range of about 1.34 to 1.4, somewhere around in there. Our Grandmaster LEDs are set at 100% cool white. So we're on channel. We have 4 channels. Channel 1 is cool white, warm white, red, far red. Right now we're just using the cool white. We're going to add in some of the warm white probably around, I don't know, week 3, somewhere around there. So maybe day 21 or so. But we'll just do the cool white for now. We are at 367 watts of power, 60%, running 100% on the first channel. 60% intensity, which gives us a PPFD of around 4 to 450, and that is here. I don't raise and lower the lights, I just adjust the intensity. It's just a lot easier. That gives me 400 to 450 at the tops of these. We do have to, as they grow into the light, so we will either have to lower the intensity as they grow up to keep that DLI where we want it to be, the daily light interval. So as long as we can keep our PPFD at 400 to 450, the DLI will automatically be in range. That's just how much light these plants are being able to absorb throughout the day. As long as we keep in that range of good and good. You can check this on your PPFD meter right here on your phone. There's an app on your phone. You can check out your app store and go to PPFD meter. It'll be green, and you can download that, and it is pretty damn accurate. I mean, as close as you need to be when it comes to light meters, because all of them are just about going to give you something different from what I've seen. And yeah, once you get that on your phone, make sure your lens is clean on your phone, and you get pretty good accuracy. That was one of the smallest ones. We're going to see what happens with that. Watch that one turn out to be the craziest, well, the one that we need probably. But right now, the biggest one is over there in that corner. But that's all we got today. I appreciate everybody. Hope everybody has a good Wednesday. We'll see you on Let's Be Buds tonight. Come check us out, hang out. My lights, I'll be out here for the first hour, and then the lights are out at 10. So we'll see you tonight. Peace.